is involved on matters of goonery, it is the populace to lose. So I'm wondering how a government would have sponsored goons to go and attack Gachagua. And 3 armed police officers, only 3, given to him by the same government he's fighting.
Repulse them.
Can repulse
the government.
State. Oh my God, we have been there before. We have tried, we have failed.
Yeah.
So this idea of, the government trying to meddle with Gachagua security is a non-issue. No. Because we have been there.
But Trevor, let me say this.
So what they need to know is when you have goons in your convoy, pay them well, pay them in good time.
Trevor, I didn't know, that perspective. When we move in our political space, by the way, like from the last campaign, it is very difficult. You address people here, the ones who can afford the mic, the bicycles, follow you to the next. Now I understand the perspective, but let me emphasize 2 things. Number one, I've gotten to know President Ruto. And I can tell you, you may take so much from him, but Ruto is not the person who can permit a raid in a church. There is some religious part of him that we need to give to him. That I can tell you. Number 2, Jared has explained it, but I now understand. Because I was asking myself, Trevor, you don't know where I worshipped last Sunday. I was asking, how did those young people know where Gachagua was going to worship? And therefore, I was saying, it must be either Gachagua, but now he explains. There are people who did not pay their money in Embakasi who trailed him there. Either way, we don't want, such situations, because you saw the way it was then turned in church. In fact, it was now not the state or whoever. It is, Ruto, don't do this. To this church. It is division. It is just, sowing division, which is unnecessary. Let us, keep these things, off, and let us, keep to what stabilizes the state.
Okay, Manzo, start us off on this conversation. Balancing act between freedoms and order. The government wants to regulate social media, but experts warn that the move is a double-edged sword. Should social media be regulated as is now? We know just last week, the head of NIS was speaking about this Ruto must go slogan, which has mostly been pushed online. Should social media be regulated as we head towards 2027?
Well, the freedom of speech is given by the Constitution. What I heard the boss of NIS speak of is lies peddled through social media. And that happens once in a while, but also a lot of truths, are passed through social media, and especially where there is evidence. You see, like it's similar to what happened in Parliament when the 2 ladies had an altercation. Somebody filmed it and released it to social media. That is exactly factual. I've heard some people on the floor of the House try to blame this member who filmed this. But that is the truth. That's the freedom. Those are the facts. That's what happened. Now, somebody else wants now that not released or that not transformed. And if you do so, then you are holding freedom of expression, and you are holding, freedom to do things, freedom to use electronic gadget. So there is a charge if you misuse an electronic gadget. Then be taken to court and be charged with the misuse of electronic gadget. But what we have seen happening in this country is looking through the social media, and I was in these cases with the Law Society of Kenya. Then arrest, actually kidnap the young people, don't hold them in police cells, hold them in communicado for days, beat them up. I think that's all illegal. If that's what they intend to do, that will not help. And we have a responsibility of future generations. The young people are already with us. And the young people are very digital. They are already using digital platforms. And they are communicating. And they are disagreeing with us on a lot of management issues. In fact, these young people, a lot of them are going to be elected in Parliament in the next election. and they are going to take over this country.
Yeah.
So we should not muzzle them. You know, if we deal with anybody misusing these mediums, it should be within the law. Charge them and give evidence in court.
Okay.
But don't kidnap, go and kill.
Yeah.
I am very upset with the Mulot incident. Those young, brilliant young people of Mulot should never have been killed or should not be kept in, or should not be lost today. Kenyans don't know where they are. The NSIS should tell us where those young people are because they have all the information. The police should investigate and tell us where they are. If I were the NSIS, I would have taken those people, molded them to better citizens, and used them positively for the country.
Okay.
We want to know where those young people are. What happened to them are illegal. It is very unfortunate. And although the Kenyan judicial system is not following that because it is muzzled, we want to know what has happened to the 100 or so Kenyans who have disappeared because it was because of use of gadgets and because of social media.
Okay.
So there should not be pretense. Let them follow the law too. If you mess up, be taken to court and be given an opportunity to explain yourself.
Okay. Sabina, should social media be regulated in Kenya?
Yes, it should, but we need to look at what is being regulated because there is something called the freedom, there is a right, but there is also a responsibility. I think what we need to look at is the social media and the responsibility that comes in because once you give freedom, even at home, you can give your children freedom, but then they must also come with responsibility because where your right stops, mine starts. And with AI, we have seen people can turn things around. I'm actually very scared of 2027 and the things that the social media can be able to do. I think what we need to do is to teach our children on responsibility, and not just our children. I would just want to say I'm very much ashamed of what came out of Parliament, not because of what happened, because these women are not the first members of Parliament to fight. But because they are women, the matter has been amplified. We've had many people who have fought before.
It's true.
And not only in this
We
Parliament.
fight every day.
People fight, but because it's
In
women.
fact, Kaluma has fought it before, though not in Parliament.
It's okay. And number two, you see, it's unfortunate that our male colleague recorded, and you can hear him talking. As the speaker suspends those ladies
That
for
male
90
colleague
days,
must go.
that male colleague also should be suspended.
For what offense?
You could hear him saying, wacha ni record alafu na forward.
Don't separate them.
Surely.
Let them fight.
Wacha wapigane.
So what was this about? That's what I'm saying. Why was he recording? For what purpose? You see, that's why I told you, Trevor.
Happening, right?
Trevor, that's what I'm telling you. Let me ask
cover
you.
it up?
Let me ask you. Not covering it up. But once he shared, what did he achieve? Surely, what are we?
Exposing the dishonorable house. member.
Yes.
And so you are part of that dishonorable house. Let us
He should
also
have brought
be very
peace
mindful.
between
Remember,
them.
Yeah.
these two women, he is a man,
degenerate.
he should have gone to actually talk to these ladies and even separate them.
They were fighting.
These are, yes, as a man, you go and separate them.
That they proclaim he's not allowed to touch any of them. You know.
Not about in faith. Now, so you don't actually record. Surely, Trevor. No, on this one, I'll not let you go. On this one, I'll not it happen.
So
I will
don't
not
separate them. Let them fight.
Let me tell you, you should be there. You should be a peacemaker. You should have actually have separated those women, talk to them instead of recording. Number two, these are also women. At that spur moment, people can get annoyed and people can overreact. But they have children and everything else. So let us also try to protect each other. But my point was, I think the security people, when they speak, they give it more visibility.
Yeah.
And let us see and have a solution, even in Parliament, on how we can be able to come up with laws that regulate. That you're told you have, yes, this freedom, but please know you also have a responsibility. When we see our young children, going out, putting people in coffins, really, even as a parent.
Putting people naked.
Putting people naked, and I've seen also dancing style. At some point, I saw the statue of the Kenyatta at KICC. I saw Kenyatta waking up and
running away.
So you can imagine what can be done even about you.
Yeah.
So because today you may clap that somebody has been put on that social media and have been a victim before, but tomorrow it will be you. So let us teach responsibility. Let us have laws that can be able to regulate. We know there are some countries like even China, where some of this WhatsApp, everything is banned. Even when you go to Dubai, you can't use your phone to call with WhatsApp because they try to protect. Sometimes They try to, it's actually much more protecting than restricting.
Okay.
So as the government has been good enough, and I think we have freedom of speech and freedom of expression, let us express ourselves with responsibility. And I will again say it starts with us.
Yeah.
We as the lawmakers, I will say again to my colleague who recorded, I am very disappointed.
Okay.
And again, I want to tell Kenyans, I have seen it also in the newspapers, these are not the first members of parliament in the fight.
But it doesn't make it right, though.
It is not right. It is not right. And that's what I've said. There was that spur moment. I don't know what they were fighting about. But the thing is, as a responsible Kenyan, shame on to my colleague who recorded.
Okay. Jared, where does this responsibility comes in? Because there are those who say that AI-generated material is actually part of creativity.
It is. Actually, you know, Kenya is being celebrated for the M-Pesa, which was our own innovation. And it also feeds into the internet and the social media strata. There are very many good things around social media, but the moment we try to overstretch its usage by inviting illegalities, then that is where the problem lies. People make money out of social media. You know, I'm told, I'm not a member, but I'm told TikTok is one such platform that people can make a lot of money from. People can market their wares, actually, on social media. So that if you have any business, you create, information or your existence through social media. Politicians, there are some who are very popular on social media, but when you go to the ground, vitu ni tofauti kidogo, you know? So it's a medium upon which information is shared across board, but there is a level of responsibility that is needed. There is the infamous impugned security laws of 2016, where we made a lot of necessary noises against. This was also going to regulate a lot of our interaction on social media. You remember, our country has been very unfortunate with bombings, and we have to give credit to our NIS boss now, together with the IG of police and the entire police service. Honorable Kaluma will tell you the myriad amounts of bombings that have since been thwarted by our security apparatus in this country, things that we cannot tell in public, and the police cannot come out to say, by the way, there was a bomb to explode in this place, and we nabbed it. And there are many. So before the 2016, you remember, we had bombings in Garissa University, El Ade, our soldiers in Somalia, the Dusit here. And Kenyans, as irresponsible as sometimes we can turn, were sharing photos of those dead bodies, you know, and even coming out with graffiti around them. So that is why the government thought that it was necessary to have certain controls in our social media. But again, we have to juxtapose that with the free speech that we also have as a country. We have the freedom to do many things, as is enshrined in Chapter 4 of our Constitution on Bill of Rights. But we must also remember that those rights also have limitations. They are not just, open-ended. And one such place that can apply brakes on your Bill of Rights is a court of law. And that is also put into our Constitution. So we must remember that, as my sister Sabina has correctly put it, where your right ends, another person's begins. So you don't infringe on people's rights just because there's a Bill of Rights that will protect you. You will go to jail and you will be there for a very, very long time. Yeah. It is important that we step back and only capitalize on the good that comes out of social media. Otherwise, again, we don't want a country where there are too much controls on aspects of social media that it then denies us the opportunity to reap the benefits coming out of it. If you go to Dubai, and my sister has rightly put it, we have this WhatsApp channel, but you can only send a message. If you call, you will not hear anything, and they don't complain. If you go to China, there is no WhatsApp. They created their own called WeChat. which they also control so massively. You don't even understand why they had to create it. But when it comes to our place, firstly, WhatsApp is not ours, WeChat is not ours, TikTok is not ours. But when we want to regulate this foreign stuff, then we are at the top of our voices as if it is our own creation. So as a country, we must be very, very responsible. Okay. Let us stop insults. Yeah. Let us stop sharing nude photos, and you see quite a lot of such in the social media. So let's just be responsible, and the government will not reel its ugly head into your affairs.
Okay. Kaluma, I want to bring something here that we have to talk about, and also as you wade into the issue of social media, because this is almost related with this freedom of speech. There was echoes of war dramas, police bar Malala from students' camp. Now, there was an altercation between police and Cleophas Malala, the former Secretary General of UDA, at Kirobon Girls Secondary School, where he says he was accosted by police officers after he wanted to just show these young people the Echoes of War script, which is a play that was done. Is there an overreach by police sometimes in this situation?
You want me to discuss Malala?
No. It's the overreach of the police during this time. Because even journalists were assaulted yesterday by quite a number.
Yeah.
Your own.
Yeah, so all media, whether mainstream like this one or social media, is regulated. But unlike mainstream media, you know, Trevor, you operate under a journalist's code of conduct that governs you. And you have various agencies. I think there used to be the Communications and Multimedia Appeals Tribunal. There is the Media Council. You know, there are institutions which supervise and really regulate, you know, your conduct and can enforce some things. I can tell you there is a time I had a very bad publication. Yeah. The details which are so bad to mention here, from this tabloid called The Nairobian. And I went to the Communication and Multimedia Appeals Tribunal. And you know, Kenyans do not know, but for that publication, even before compensated for damages, they were fined 2 million, the Standard Media Group. But the danger with the digital, the social media space, is that unlike, you know, the mainstream media where we have journalists and media houses regulated, this one, number one, have no code of regulation because it is everybody's space. The danger again is that that space moves very fast. Trevor, these matters you're seeing on headline here, on the digital platform, people read them yesterday or the other day, so it is moving very fast. The other danger is on traceability, the ability to trace whoever is putting, you know, they have even, you know, titles which are not there. There is a time a person just came from nowhere and said, Kaluma is in Meru collecting bribes, in which case, and you know, at that time, I'm like, who is this? Now, then you go to the social media name. Yeah. You are searching for the guy, you can't get the guy. You can't imagine how far to go to confirm who it was, because even the name he uses here is a pseudo. So it's a very difficult situation even when you want to pursue them for defamation. And remember, this can be from any part of the world. Even jurisdiction or territorial issues, when you want to mount action, is very difficult. Yeah. What we need to do is what Honorable Jared Okello has mentioned. If you go to a country like, you can go to Dubai. We were in Russia for the World Cup the other time, you remember. There is a way in which they decide what is good for the society, because that has to be protected. The creative economy space, the digital space, is very big. I mean, pass by the middle of town on Sundays, you see how much our young people can be able, through innovation and creativity, to make out of that platform. So that which is good is protected. But there is a way in which they filter that which is bad for society. So that if you go to a number of these countries, they'll tell you, for example, pornographic material, you'll never access it. Even if you tried going to the site and type, you will never access it. So there is a way in which, I don't know whether we've reached that level of technological ability to be able to protect the society from what is bad while allowing freedom of expression and everything. You cannot, you know, quite, you know, get it. So we must reach that space where even before you put it in, and I can tell you, Trevor, if you want to know the seriousness of social media or the digital, you know, space, then watch the address Monica Lewinsky gave when she came from hiding after, you know, that scandal. Said this thing kills you completely, and before you know it, the reputation, the image the world has of you. And it is the world, not even the space where it is coming from. It's very scary. So the thing is that while allowing freedom of expression, while allowing our people to exploit that digital economy and creative economy space, we can, you know, get away of technologically stopping what is not right. I don't have the facts around, you know, Malala.
We're actually showing some of the pictures right now. It's happening
that is why
Lions School. So here's a background of it all. This is happening at the Lions School. It's the 63rd National Drama Festival. You can see the pictures there. Only the students are allowed to do this play. It is called Echoes of War. It was a script written by former UDA Secretary General Cleophas Malala. Yesterday, he tried to access the students for a rehearsal, and he was repulsed by police there. In fact, some of the journalists were even injured in the process. And this is what I was asking about Manzo, saying, are we seeing a police overreach? So people are perceived to be against the government. Because there's also this Echoes of War is a play about the Gen Z's revolution during the June 25th.
The Gen Z's
That's
revolution.
where the problem was.
No, then I can now say something. The police have better reasons as to why they were doing what they were doing, which we may not have. But I can tell you there are interventions the police will also have always to secure the security of the state. And when that comes, I can tell you, it is good sometimes to prevent than to allow. And let me end by telling you, Trevor, Honorable Manzo, if, for instance, the state were involved in that Mwiki thing of Gachagua, it would have not taken place. In fact, it would have not had that. You know the state. You know the state. So the police will always,
militia.
The police will always intervene to secure the state internally. And when they do so, let us not, without, you know, underlying information, conclude this is overreach.
Manzo?
Well, first and foremost, you know, Drama Festival is, you know, where we express our creativity. It's a very good way of keeping our young people busy, and a lot of them have made career out of this. Cleophas Malala's writings at times is against corruption, and Echoes of War, the war is war against corruption and bad governance. And therefore, you know, Malala being the author, it's more motivating if he goes to motivate students because he's a script writer. And most probably, I'm sure he wants this girls' school to win and feel motivated enough. So I don't see any crime Malala has committed. And in fact, the placing of police there or an arrest on Malala. In fact, as soon as we leave this show, I want to know what's the status. Has he been arrested? And if so, I'll rush to Nakuru and appear for him in court to make sure that justice is done. Justice pro bono, justice is done on him. This is a former senator and is a citizen who is serious about change in this country and better governance. And therefore, I don't see any justification at all for what happened last night, for not allowing Malala to talk to students as a leader, for not allowing freedom of expression, and even for making, you know, for beating up journalists and throwing tear gas. It is totally unnecessary. And whoever commanded that, in fact, should be investigated. The parliament should follow up this matter to know what happened and why, you know, cause curfew unnecessarily.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have to leave it there. Thank you so much for making time. It's really
I really wanted to talk about, you know, I'm a product of this drama.
One and my
because
two.
we ran out of
I am a product of drama festivals, and we used to do our scripts. So what I'll plead is that our children are innocent, they should be allowed to perform, but let's leave politics out of our schools. That would be my appeal. You know, what you imprint in children today, they will not forget for a very long time. So let's not take advantage of innocence of our children to be able to drive our own agenda. It is very sad. I used to do and write plays when I was in high school. We won all the way to the national level. Let's leave that creativity to the teachers and the students to do it. But once we bring politics at the lives of, in the space, instead of our children learning, we want to incite them, it is wrong. But children are innocent, they should be allowed to perform. But even for the teachers and for the Ministry of Education, let us vet, let us leave the creativity of drama festivals to the children and not abuse the innocence of our children.
Okay, Okello, very briefly.
We just came from Gen Z protests last year, which almost brought the government down. So we still are nursing greater fragility as a country. And therefore, if somebody is writing something around war, and it is called the Echoes
war
of
against
War,
corruption,
and it is meant to, you know, simply indoctrinate the young people, you know, so that they are charged to resist the issues of governance. That can never be allowed. If I have written a book, and I have written one actually on trafficking, and it is going to be child trafficking, and it is going to be, you know, done somewhere, either as a play or what, must I be there? What then will happen to all those who have written books? I'm reading a book written by Kaluma on judicial review. And if it is going to be discussed at the University of Nairobi, must Kaluma be present in that class because his book is being discussed? So
tell them what happened to America.
Yes, so therefore, what we can say is Malala is no longer a teacher, and he was not invited as a judge because there are judges who then grade those drama festivals. He's none. The only thing is that he has written that play. And the fragility that we have as a country, it is incumbent upon our security apparatus to be vigilant on anything that can turn around this country and take it back to where we were last year.
Okay.
So I agree with the police. Malala ought to have known beforehand that his presence was not invited, and therefore should have stayed in Nairobi. But it is the same, you know, same trend. You know, Gachagua seeking sympathy, now Malala seeking sympathy. Late in the night at 9 p.m., when you guys were reading news, he was there in Nakuru at night, exposing, you know, our very good journalists, including your journalist in Nakuru, who is doing a splendid job, Marianne, and had to be subjected to, you know, that billowing tear gas, smoke, and all that. It's uncalled for.
All right.
So let Malala and company stop this drama. We have been here before as Azimio, but we didn't make a lot of input.
You will soon be back.
All right, gentlemen, we have to leave it there. Lady, thank you so much for making time. Honorable Peter Kaluma, Member of Parliament, Homa Bay Town. Honorable Jared Okello, Member of Parliament, Jandro, Sabina Chege, nominated MP, and Honorable Dan Manzo, Senator for Makueni. Thank you so much for making time. Let's leave it there on the State of the Nation. See you in a bit.